Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dry Fire Tools of the Trade. What we're going to talk about today is the wall drill. As you can see behind me, I have a blank wall, and we'll get to that in just a moment. I picked this drill up from the late Todd Green about trigger control and how I can use dry fire specifically to increase my trigger control. Now, a lot of people will say that this is a front sight drill in regards to how to focus on your front sight. And while they are not completely wrong, the more detailed answer behind that would be is in regards to how or when you manipulate your trigger, what that does to your front sight. What is the interaction between the two? And of course, you're always slightly manipulating your grip. Of course, what is that doing to the front sight? The reason we do that on a wall, a blank wall, and not a target is because it provides no contrast. We are already talking about lining up three different focal planes, being the target, the front sight, and the rear sight. Without a specific target, what that allows you to do is to see all of the little movements that your front sight does in regards to specifically manipulating your trigger. Now, of course, what we are specifically looking for in regards to the fundamentals of marksmanship is, can you press that trigger without disturbing the front sight? Can you press that trigger to the rear or straight back to the rear without messing with that front sight or disturbing your sight picture? This drill isn't necessarily meant to be done slow. It's however you choose to press that trigger. Fast, slow, indifferent, whatever. You could be trying to train for your next match with USPSA or getting ready for your next NRA bullseye match. It doesn't matter. This is a fantastic drill that you can master pretty much anywhere. Another thing that we can keep in mind with the wall drill, just like the zip tie drill, we can do it from the draw, we can do it one-handed, we could do it two-handed, weak-handed, from the turn, all of your various positions, anything like that. What is happening whenever you add in a variable such as that is you are making sure that you are establishing a proper grip, and you're adding in a variable of disturbing or potentially disturbing your front sight. Because obviously if you miss your grip, it may impact how you press that trigger when it comes out of the holster. So, for example, I'm going to draw the gun, or, excuse me, let me start with this. I'm going to simply start with a basic wall drill. Now, guess what I can do? You heard that click. What I can do is simply tap, rack, reassess if I choose to do so. But what I will do from here is go back to the holster. Now, I will do the same thing, except I will draw at a roughly medium speed and simply press the trigger whenever I determine that the sight picture is good enough. Again, I don't have a target, so as long as my front sight is within that rear sight, I'm going to press the trigger and just see what happens. That is the point of this wall drill here. I want to see whatever quote unquote I need to see to make that shot. I can really flirt with what I can do with my front sight, because even if my front sight is misaligned within that rear sight, as long as I don't disturb it whenever that trigger goes off, I know that's where that round would have gone if I was on the range. So let me try to demonstrate that and go from here. Now, did not disturb the front sight, but kind of missed my grip. All right, no excuses there. So I'm gonna try it one more time and see what happens. Again, I would simply re-rack and holster up. Again, that was a pretty good trigger press, which is what I am looking for. You don't have to have a perfect sight picture from this or even a perfect grip. What you're trying to do is establish what your front sight is doing as you manipulate the gun. Now, what I will tell you is that first draw was a lot rougher and a lot harder to manipulate that trigger than whenever I established a proper grip on the second draw. Okay. Now, what I would suggest doing this drill specifically is either set a timer. There's no reason to set a par time. When I mean a timer, I mean set it for 3 to 5 minutes, because this is a focus monster. you're not going to be able to sit here and do it for 10, 20, 30 minutes at a time. One, if you're gripping the gun as hard as you properly need to grip the gun, you're not going to get that much time out of it. Number two, your vision tends to get tired. You get a little sloppy with looking at that front sight. You lose a little focus with your mind, that kind of thing. What I would suggest with the wall drill, and pretty much the only drill that I can think of off the top of my head, is count your reps. What I would do here is 20, 25 reps from each position. So basically 20 reps basically just from a high compressed ready, 20 reps from the draw, strong hand, weak hand, and then I would finish up with two hand. Now, that was approximately 100 trigger presses. How much better would you be if you pressed the trigger 100 times every day whenever the next guy or gal, whatever, is not pressing the trigger at all? Ideally, you want perfect trigger presses. But as long as you understand and know what you're doing, if you press the trigger incorrectly or miss your grip on your draw or something of that effect, if you are disciplined enough to know what you did, understand what you did, or understand how to correct it, and then do it that correctly the next rep, well, you're still benefiting from that, even from an incorrect rep. We can learn just as much from an incorrect rep or even a miss on the range as much as we can from a correct rep or even getting a hit on the range. So bear that in mind. Very, very good drill here. It is something that I think I would actually rather see people master first before they get into the zip tie, moving fast, doing things like that, because you really, really, really understand about what you do in regards to how you manipulate the gun with the wall drill, because there is no target here. Last but not least, in regards to the wall drill, as you notice, I'm pretty close to my wall. That is done on purpose, because what that does is that really, really highlights everything that's going on, and I can really see those little imperfections or those little movements of what's happening into the front sight. Of course, with me using my fingers here, it's an over an exaggeration, but let me demonstrate that one more time and see if I can show you what I am doing. So again, empty gun, two-handed grip, perfect sight picture, side alignment. I am simply going to press the trigger, it goes off. I was pretty happy there. What I saw with the front sight there was, for some reason, the front sight was starting to move up a little bit. Okay, I was adjusting my pinky pressure a little bit, and it was causing that front sight to go up and down a little more than I wanted to. Now, would it have been an A-zone hit within 7, 10, 15 yards? Absolutely. It wasn't that much. But because I was so close to that wall, it provided me that opportunity to know and see that feedback. Now, obviously the wall drill is something that you necessarily don't want to have. I recommend you using the gun as it sits without any type of assistance, zip ties, or anything like that. That doesn't mean that you cannot effectively get some feedback out of the wall drill. Look at my last video about using zip ties. I've already got this one set up. What I can do here, because I've got unlimited ammo and a repeating trigger, what I can use the wall drill for is, this isn't necessarily a trigger control drill because it's not my real trigger. Technically, you can make the argument that it's still trigger control, and it is, but specifically, me, I am looking for what my grip is doing as I manipulate the trigger quickly up against the wall. So I really want to see what that front sight is doing. So as you can see here, present the gun, and just go to work. Now, that front sight is moving back and forth pretty quickly. What I would simply do here with my grip is I would crank down on the bottom of my grip here with what I saw with my front sight. I know you viewers can't see what I can see, but let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm gonna make that corrective action and go from there. I'm gonna crank down a little bit harder with my support hand, specifically on the bottom of the grip of my gun. Much better there. Okay, so you can make corrective action that way with a zip tie. Again, start the wall drill without a zip tie, with just the gun, rack it out, feel what your trigger is doing, and get those reps in. Alright guys, that's what I've got for you today, the wall drill. So please give it a try. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, and always remember that performance is a habit.